Hey guys, welcome back to Shortcrust to Success, where I, Randy Vieru, share with you how to achieve professional baker's recipes. For today's recipe, we're going to be making cake pops. Cake pops are a bite-sized alternative for cakes or cupcakes for any occasions. It can be a birthday, anniversary, baby shower, Mother's Day. Anytime that you would have cake, you can have cake pops. I will share below all the ingredients and the tools that I use to successfully make these. I will also share different tips on how to successfully form, dip, and decorate your cake pops. And later, I will share some more tips, so make sure to stick around until the end of the video. If this is something that you're interested in, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you do not miss any new recipes. Without further ado, here are the ingredients and the recipe to follow. I'm going to start by shredding my chocolate cake. The best part about using chocolate cake is that you can actually use the trimmings, which is what I did. The best part of making cake pops is that you can use any part of the cake. Some people use a mixer, some people use a food processor. Sounds like those people don't have dishes to do. Hands are the best kitchen tools. And don't worry about the caramelized parts because guess what? It's going to be soaked, so it's all going to be smooth and delicious. Next, we're going to make our frosting, and I have here some room temperature cream cheese, and I'm going to mix my sugar and cream cheese together. In case your cream cheese is not to room temperature, the sugar granules are going to break apart any lumps that could happen, and it's also going to soften our cream cheese. I like to make my own frosting because one, you know exactly what goes in it, and I could never find a frosting that was good enough without that nasty aftertaste. No offense to the people using the store-bought frosting. You could do that too. I just prefer the mouthfeel and the taste of a nice homemade frosting. As you can see, this is what we end up with. We went from a block of cream cheese to this nice, gorgeous, creamy texture. And we're now going to be adding our cream. And this is my secret ingredient. The cream is what's going to help us not add too much frosting because it's going to loosen our preparation and it's also going to cut the sugar content. So we're just mixing it all together until we have a nice, even consistency. And this is the fun part. We're actually going to add all of the frosting into our shredded cake. Now we're just going to incorporate the frosting into our cake. There you have it, the perfect consistency for our cake pops. It is time to shape our cake balls. And I have this little scooper here. These are actually going to be going into the freezer so that they can be shaped easily. And for the extra, if you can't make a ball out of it, what I like to do is just portion it and add it to the ones that I deem look smaller. All right, these are ready for the freezer for about 5 to 10 minutes. That will be a good amount of time for the cake balls to harden. That way they can be shaped properly. While our cake balls are in the freezer hardening, we're going to be melting our chocolate. And this is where a mistake can happen. What you want to do is melt your chocolate in 30 seconds increments, and you want to stir in between each and every time that you put it in the microwave. What ends up happening is that when you have white chocolate and that you overheat it, it actually hardens and burns. So we're going to be doing 30 seconds increments, and you're going to see that when I take it out, it's not going to look melted, but the more I stir, it's actually going to melt in the heat that is already in the bowl. So this is after 30 seconds, not much activity here, but you still want to stir it because the bottom might be melting faster than the top. And we're going to go back in for another 30 seconds. This is after a total of 1 minute. From the top, you don't really see much activity, but if you look on the side, you can see that my chocolate started to melt. So you want to be careful at this point. I can already feel that a lot of it has melted, but it's not there yet. So now I'm gonna go back in for an additional 30 seconds, but I am going to check it after 15 seconds just to see if I can go the whole 30 seconds or if it'll be ready after the extra 15 seconds. So you see here, I went back in for 15 seconds, not a whole 30 seconds. As you can see, I started with some larger pieces in there, but as I stir, they keep melting. So that was an additional 15 seconds. So can you imagine if I had gone the whole 30 seconds, that's when my chocolate will probably have burned. And that's what we want to avoid. Now our chocolate is at the perfect consistency. So I'm gonna go ahead and melt these two right now. We are all done melting our chocolate. So now we're just going to form our cake balls. And you just want to push it like so in between your fingers on the flat part, and then just roll it. The heat of your hands is going to shape it into a ball. And this is what you end up with. Now I'm going to add the sticks to the cake pops. So what you do is you take your stick, you dip it into the chocolate, and you take your cake, you press it about halfway there, and you push the excess onto the cake ball like so. We get our cake ball, get our chocolate, press, and we do this so that we avoid that kind of lump that can form at the top. If we don't do that, then this is going to harden before the second coat that's going to cover the whole ball, and then you're just gonna have this lump of chocolate here. So you want to flatten it out so that when you go back to dip the whole cake ball, then it doesn't have this weird bump at the top. We are all done adding our sticks to our cake pops. So now we're going to pop these back into the freezer for an additional 10 minutes before we start dipping them. I have a small batch here that I got from the freezer. I'm not going to show you guys every single cake pop that I make, but just to show you the technique that I use to dip them and decorate them. I'm only doing one coat for these. The tray to receive all of my sprinkles is ready. My chocolate, I had to pop it back in for another 15 seconds and stir it, but it is ready to go. And these cake pops are actually for a gender reveal, so that's why these are the colors that I have here. I have my white, my pink, and my blue. So I'm gonna do 3 of each with different decorations. So what I do is I take my cake pop and I dip my cup to the side, and I dip the whole cake pop into my chocolate. You want to tap it on the side, just like so, to get rid of the excess chocolate. And while my cake pop is still wet, I'm going to get my sprinkles. And I'm going to add it onto my cake pop, just like so. And I'm going to scrape it onto my surface. I'm going to scrape the extra chocolate, and I'm going to place it down. You want to hold it just for a bit, that way it stays down the right way. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to dip my whole cake pop, take it out, and tap the side to remove any excess chocolate. I'm going to let gravity do its work here while it's still wet. Scrape the excess. Place it down and hold. Now onto my blue. Get my cake pop. Dip it. And if you're missing some spots, you can just add a little bit of the chocolate. Now time for our pink. We're going to dip, tap to remove any excess. There you have it, guys. This is what they look like, and they are ready to be plated. Off camera, I'm just going to finish the different designs and I will show you guys the end result. There you have it, guys. I hope that this recipe was helpful to you. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it and share with others who you think might enjoy it as well. I know that by probably seeing the end product, you might think that making cake pops is something that is daunting, but if you follow these tips, I'm sure that you will get great results. Like I said earlier, I wanted to give you guys some tips to successfully achieve this recipe, and I wasn't lying. I just didn't have enough time, or maybe forgot during the video, so I just wanted to share this with you guys so that you have that in mind when you're making your cake pops. When melting their chocolate, some people may add vegetable shortening. This thins out your preparation and it helps to have lighter coats. When choosing your sprinkles, you really want to be careful because as you're eating the cake pop, you're not going to expect a hard sprinkle. This is what I mean. So if you have sprinkles that are this big on your cake pop, you risk breaking some teeth, or they can start to become a choking hazard. Yes, they're pretty to use, but you might want to dial back on the size of the sprinkles. And lastly, if you want to achieve a successful cake pop, please make sure after all the hard work not to put your cake pop into the freezer, because the shock in temperature might make your cake pop break. And you might end up with this big line of broken chocolate after this whole work that you've put into the cake pops. So please, please, please make sure that when you're done with your cake pops, just leave them at room temperature. Once you've had them at room temperature overnight, you could put them in the refrigerator and they can stay up to 5 days. But even then, you might not want to do that. So make your cake pops a day or a couple days ahead of time, keep them at room temperature, and you can serve them. They will be just fine and safe to eat. There you have it, guys. I hope that this was helpful to you, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, if you did, please make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers!